at best. So far, only Egyptians have been let through and a handful of Libyans. Reports are thousands remain injured on the other side of the border. Volunteers and charities have organized several convoys. Some have already made it into Libya, bringing much-needed medical equipment. There is also a severe shortage of blood, so they're carrying thousands of liters with them too.
The administration of the medical affairs in Matruh supported us with a crew of physicians. We prepared the intensive care unit for any emergencies coming from Libya. The unit is ready for anything, even for open-heart surgery, and the army has prepared a hospital near the port.
Both those going in and coming out are calling for help from the international community. Many feel that the plight of the Libyan people is being deliberately ignored and want to see concrete action on the ground to bring an end to the bloodshed. Jamal Al-Shayal, AlJazeera, Salloum on the Egypt-Libya border.
Well, let's get the very latest now with Yusuf Bouendal. Joins me now here in the studio. He's a professor of international affairs at Qatar University. The problem and the pressure now seems potentially to be on countries like Tunisia and Egypt, who may well see an influx of refugees. They've got their own problems.
I think they will certainly see an influx of their own nationals, because there's a very big Egyptian community in Libya working there, and also Tunisian community. So first of all, these two respective countries have to deal with their own nationals who have been working in Libya, and secondly, other nationalities like Africans who will be fleeing the country, and thirdly, Libyan citizens themselves. So they are in for some serious problems.
And of course, for some days now, there has been pressure on the international community to be seen to be doing something. We've finally heard now from the Americans and certainly the president there, but also it seems now with the Security Council statement coming out, the African Union, barely an Arab League statement, things seem to be moving, but it's still very slow.
Well, I think that things are moving, or has been moving. The pressure has been mounting over the last week or so. Every day we hear stronger words, and the fact that Barack Obama said that full range of options, you can read into it whatever you like, but he does not exclude any options. Also, it should be pointed out that Sarkozy also has made very, very strong statements. The third thing, I think that the United Nations should get involved, and especially the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees should get involved in preparation for what the influx of refugees. We now understand that the eastern part of Libya is not under the control of Gaddafi, and some provision needs to be made in that part of the country, at least, to make the plight of refugees a little bit easier.
We do believe that the United Nations Commissioner for Refugees, Ms. Pillay, is actually, I presume, in negotiations with foreign donors to see how they can actually help. I wondered what you thought of the counter-argument that we're also hearing from Libya. We've had statements from Saif al-Islam, Gaddafi's son, now his daughter, plus Gaddafi earlier in the week. I mean, there is a bit of a fight back in the media, or certainly using the media to try and get their message across.
I think propaganda plays a very important role, and the battle, if I call it that way, is not only played on the streets of Tripoli, but also played on the studios. We heard that Colonel Gaddafi, for instance, in his speech said that the official TV station, Libyan TV station, will bring in live pictures to make sure that whatever the other agencies are saying is wrong, especially AlJazeera. For instance, Aisha al-Gaddafi in her statement this morning said that she does not watch other space channels, but she only listens to what her national TV says. I think that Gaddafi himself was a little bit too late in coming out. He should have come out very early when the problem started. The speech by his son, Saif al-Islam Gaddafi, did not help at all, and neither did his speech a couple of days ago. So they just, in my opinion, served to inflate the situation even more.
Well, we shall see what happens in the coming hours and days. Yusuf, thanks for joining us. Of course, you're staying with us here throughout the proceedings to analyse things for us from Libya. Thank you. 92 people are now known to have died in the earthquake in New Zealand, according to Prime Minister John Key. And police have said there are, or could be, as many as 120 more bodies trapped in the rubble. As Tanya Page reports, time is running out for their rescue.
Christchurch's iconic cathedral may now be a tomb for several people who it's believed were trapped inside. From the air, the wounds inflicted by Tuesday's earthquake run deep. With the arrival of hundreds of international rescue workers, this has become a huge operation, but the death toll is expected to rise.
Now we've got the capability of going out and doing searches in areas where there may still be people trapped that hitherto in smaller numbers that hitherto we haven't been able to address. So that's the first thing, and of course that will spread right across the city into the suburbs and areas such as that we haven't had the resources to do so far.
If you come into the suburbs, you realise just how widespread the damage is. This row of shops behind me survived September's earthquake, but now they've been ruined. And in a country where many people own small businesses, this sort of damage could ruin livelihoods. We found Lynn McKinney packing up her shop, but she's determined this won't be the end.
Definitely moving to new premises and, re-establishing my business. Got too much to lose. It's still a wonderful city. I know there's just absolute devastation in town.
The earthquake's effects were felt from coast to coast. 30 million tonnes of ice from the Tasman Glacier was sliced off. But closer to the epicentre, people are trying to get their lives back to normal. Basic services and supplies have been cut. Water, sewage and electricity has been severed in parts of the city, and fuel supplies have been running short. The central city is now a restricted zone. One of its tallest buildings, the Grand Chancellor Hotel, is expected to collapse, further hampering rescue efforts in the worst affected area. Tania Page, AlJazeera, Christchurch, New Zealand.
You're watching Al Jazeera, still more to come, including he was seen as the Western-friendly face of Libya. We'll look at how an education in Britain shaped the views of the man now backing his father's regime. And violent confrontations in Greece as anti-austerity protesters fight running battles with police.
Afghanistan is faced with a huge challenge.
Relations have gone really sour between us and our allies.
We have inflicted considerable damage on the enemy.
The people who make international headlines.
Ultimately, the truth will out.
They want to stop this publication of information that embarrasses them.
Make time for Sir David Frost. Frost over the world. At this time on Al Jazeera.
Welcome back to Al Jazeera. Reminder of our top stories. Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi appears to be losing control of territory in Libya. Protesters are reported to have taken control of towns as far west as Misrata, and that's around 120 kilometres from the capital, Tripoli. President Barack Obama says the US is looking at a full range of options on how to deal with the crisis. He's repeated his message to Gaddafi that the violence must stop. It's believed 92 people are now known to have died in the earthquakes in New Zealand, according to Prime Minister John Key. Rescue teams are looking for as many as 300 people that are still missing.